All right, boom, bam, just arrived. Got one of the members, one of the marchers here today, and we're gonna just talk a few things and try and find out what the people them are saying. Few questions. Why are you here?
Me, I'm here. I saw a post, saw your post on Facebook, and I saw, what we were here to do, to fight and march for reparations, because we can't be silent about England's role in global, colonization. I'm from Jamaica originally, but it's an ex-colony, right? And we had to fight for our freedom to get independence, and they ruined us economically, like a lot of African countries, a lot of Caribbean countries, and like they can dust their hands of their deeds and say it was just a means to an end, because they have all of this, so-called wonderful, the results of their evil deeds, and their ancestors were the ones that did it. And you can't blame any individual for being born how you're born, or you can't choose your ancestors. But if there's a debt that needs to be repaid, and if you look at the actual reparations debate, this is where people get confused as well. If the slave masters, right, the colonialists themselves, when slavery was ended, when legislation passed to end slavery, they said this is a change in the law and you guys have lost your business, your very profitable business, selling African human beings, right? So we are going to recompense you for the loss of your property. And if you don't recompense the human beings that were the product, we invented capitalism, we were the first capital, right? So in order for us to have true justice, there has to be reparative restoration. You have to pay the people, right? And I don't know what form that will take. I've seen in America they've got the reparations debate as well, and they're talking about doing a study for a study on a study. I'm talking about the cash money, right? And we need to just literally have a discussion, a true and honest discussion, not distorted by historians with a secret agenda, but just have an honest discussion and say, hey, look, this is what we did and this is how we're going to fix it. But one last point, and I think there's a legal implication to admitting that you've done something. That's another issue, right? Because if you say that if you admit guilt, then that makes you liable. Don't worry about us tracing who was part of the system and does my lineage qualify to get a check. That we can worry about that later. You just have to admit that there was something that goes wrong, because when I study from African historians like the John Henrik Clarks and the Dr. Benz of the world, they told me what's going on. And now we have our school systems that aren't even teaching slavery, African history properly. All it does is start with slavery. Like that's all we had to offer in the world. There was no contribution from African people. So for us to really get to a point where we can have an honest conversation, you don't have to listen to us. You can't let Sky News and the rest of the news media dictate your opinion. You have to come speak to us. So that's my opinion.
Alright, my brother, that was a mouthful, but it was powerful words. So, that's what they've done, or what they need to consider and do. What do we need to do? What do you think we need to do? We can't always say this is what they got to do, because it's our problem, right? So, what do we need to do?
I'm all about self-accountability, and I'm also about economics as well, economic empowerment for black people, right? And in terms of our contribution, I can't be just on one side blaming another group and saying, hey, you guys need to help me. I need to help myself as well. But it comes with a certain level of education and self-education at some level, because we don't have the economic history to know how to become economically independent. We almost feel like we're trapped here. I liken it to like, when people say mental slavery, right? I think it's mental economic slavery, and we feel like we're prisoners of war here. We can't go anywhere because it's like the countries that we've come from are so economically destroyed. We're here getting low-paid jobs, and the education system is really destroying our children's minds and teaching them a history that's not going to benefit them. Like, if you look at if you
just
compare
to get the point, you're 100% right. The brother's right. I don't want to cut him, but I want like a clear answer. What's our responsibility? What do we do?
What do we do? So the first one, we unify. Right? We get rid of all of these hyphens. That's the first point. It's not that I'm a black man. I'm not a black gay. I'm not a black woman. I'm not a black trans. Like, I don't care. Those are hyphens. I'm black first. My children, my mum and dad knew that I would come out of the womb as a black man as a black man or woman first. Right? So when I have that B1 black first mentality, that allows us to have open discussions, and we just leave every side issue. Yeah, we leave every side issue, and it's not even disrespecting it, calling it a side issue. I don't care about what you're doing, because you're not dying because of those side issues. You're dying because we're black, right?
Powerful.
And that's the first thing. So the first thing is unity.
Yes.
The second thing is economics.
Yes.
And you see, it's a great day today because it's Black Pound Day.
Yes.
What a wonderful initiative to get us to buy black.
Swiss is a G.
It's a G.
Black Pound Day, support the people, support your black businesses.
I've got an extension on what I think the objective for Black Pound Day. I don't really like telling our business either. This is another thing. We're on camera and we're talking, but there has to be like secret discussions where we grow as a people, because there's other groups having secret discussions. They're not asking for integration. They're just saying what they're gonna do. So my thing is this: you buy black. It's Black Pound Day. Go buy something black. Step number 2: you hire black. Create your businesses and hire your own people. Step number 3: you sell to everyone. Stop making businesses just for black people. Sell to everybody. Like, we can look at it like the Chinese model. We can look at it like the Jewish model, right? They sell to everyone. They have their own enclaves, and they buy from each other, and they hire each other. That is my economic plan. Obviously, it's not from my brain. We've got ancestors and African scholars that have written about this topic, right? So if you look up Dr. Amos Wilson and you read the book, The Blueprint for Black Power, it's all in there. Or Dr. Claude Anderson in America, he talks about powernomics and understanding the value chain. I'm just gonna say, I don't speak on things that I don't know, so I'm not gonna be someone that purports to know what the details of that legislation will look like. But
the concept.
But the concept of it is fair to me. I feel like we need to have a way to distinguish what is actually racism. I think even the definition, right? People don't even know where the etymology of that word, where it came from, right? It's only been around for like from the 1700s. And this is, again, I said Dr. Claude Anderson, he breaks it down. There was a race to see who could conquer Africa. And every other group, when we talk about dogs, when we talk about plants, we say species. But now we've got this random word called race, and then racism is just a way to perpetuate that and keep that system going. So there's a lot of...
who made the definition, who made the word, who decides what it is, it's not the victims.
We didn't make that word. We didn't make the word black. We didn't make the word race. We didn't make any of that word. We're speaking the oppressor's language.
My brother.
Right? So they've got into our heart. However, if we can have an open discussion, and again, I'm open to any legislation. I'm not going to purport to say that I know what the wording of that should be or how it can be distributed, but this is the beginning of that conversation, right? So that's kind of my answer. I can't say what I don't know.
No problem, bro. That's what we want. We just want honest feelings.